The carbon tax costs me way more money than I get back. Absolutely. I think Justin Trudeau is honestly probably not the best prime minister on the planet. And if we could do anything in the world, let's vote him out.
It's bullshit, the whole tax credit thing, in my opinion.
Oh, Justin Trudeau. That guy's crazy. He's not doing good decisions. He's not making good decisions. I can't lie.
Because it's taking money out of our paychecks for absolutely no reason.
It is May 18th, and today I'm hitting the streets of Calgary to talk about the controversial topic of climate change. I'm curious. I want to find out how climate change has actually impacted the lives of Canadians. But we're also going to find out how the response to climate change has impacted people in contrast. The Trudeau Liberal government has been actively implementing policies to address the alleged life-threatening issue of global warming. For example, as part of their plan to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050, they have mandated that by 2035, all new vehicles sold in the market must be electric.
He went on now to say that his tax is revenue neutral. Well, you don't have to be too clever to read the government's own published documents, which shows that he has collected $2 billion more in taxes than he's given back in rebates. That's why 100% of middle-class Canadians pay more than they get back.
Mr. Speaker, what we just saw is climate denialism at its finest. The fact is, as global emissions rise, as carbon intensity in the atmosphere increases, extreme weather events like wildfires, droughts, and floods will simply become more and more frequent.
Now, Canada's carbon tax was raised again on April 1st, which sparked protests Canada-wide, some of which have lasted weeks. I was able to speak to some of the protesters at the Alberta Highway 1 location, and their responses were heartbreaking. People simply cannot afford to live. Let's go talk to the average Canadian and see if they can actually recognize any observational or tangible effects of climate change in their lives versus the impacts of the government response. What has impacted you more, Justin Trudeau's climate change or Justin Trudeau's carbon tax?
Climate change for sure.
They're both screwed up, you know?
Definitely the carbon tax. I can't lie. The carbon tax.
I guess probably the carbon tax. I actually live in Vancouver. So gas is really expensive in Vancouver, but it's somewhat related to the carbon tax. So that's the most important thing, I guess, for us.
Probably the climate change.
Carbon tax.
Carbon tax, definitely.
I'd say the climate change. And other than that, the carbon tax, we get the money back in the end, and it seems to be fine for me.
Carbon tax.
Yeah. How?
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The climate change, I think is okay.
They're both horrible.
And how?
I got no comment.
Okay, they're both horrible. So what has impacted you more? Justin Trudeau's climate change or Justin Trudeau's carbon tax?
I don't think either of those are his.
Either?
No.
Or just the response to climate change? That's okay, guys.
Oh, Justin Trudeau. That guy's crazy. He's crazy. He's not doing good decisions. He's not making good decisions. I can't lie.
Justin Trudeau, the country's been on a huge decline since he became the minister, you know what I'm saying?
Like, if we're holding those two things up, well, I would say there seems to be no difference because climate change isn't solved by some tax being put on. And I guess I never understood, like, can you buy things to be better would be my question. And I like that there's that conversation, but I don't think politics have thought through, like, how does that work? Like, you can't hand money over to nature and say that now it's going to be better.
So much of it is about, like, political, advancements versus the reality of the problem is my concern.
Do you have any tangible observations of how climate change has impacted you?
Tangible? No.
I don't know very much about it, to be honest.
I'd probably say all the smoke that we have in the summers, that's probably related to the issues that we have with the global warming and the hot temperatures, but I guess you can say it's not really proven.
No, not really. It's cyclical.
Just screwed everything up, you know?
Because when, like, the smoke came in and everything, like, there was, like, a lot of rumors saying that, like, he did it on purpose, just for, like, people to pay more money and stuff like that, yeah.
Well, I mean, the carbon tax, at least, I'm in an income where I'm getting discounts and stuff, refunded more to it. The carbon stuff, or the climate change stuff, I mean, it's been a little all over the map, so keeping track of what's what is difficult.
And can you list any of those?
like what the things. Well, I mean, moving to electric cars, trying to do all this, trying to figure out, solar power versus trying to use the land, cut down on like all of it.
Right. So the response to climate change has affected you more than climate change itself.
That would probably be it. Yeah.
Well, I would say climate change has tangibly affected the world's lives. And because we're so lucky to live in such a beautiful place that it's not affected so closely, that it's affecting some other places in the world extremely closely. And we need to consider everything because we're all connected.
If that's the case, do you think that they should maybe have a carbon tax instead of Canada? Because most places don't have one. It's mostly Canada.
That's an extremely difficult question.
Speaking as an old guy, I find that the seasons change, the fires happen. Like my family, as I said, are cattle ranchers, so that the tax on the cattle and livestock is what affects us. Is what affects us the most.
In regards to the carbon tax, do you think that, for example, have you noticed the price of living actually gone up? Has that affected you?
Yes, very much so. Definitely. Very much.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, definitely.
The carbon tax costs me way more money than I get back. Absolutely. I think Justin Trudeau is honestly probably not the best prime minister on the planet. And if we could do anything in the world, let's vote him out.
Oh, the prices of fuel and living, groceries especially going up. So it's kind of messed up everything.
Because it's taking money out of our paychecks for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, it's been messing me up a cat lot. That's all I have to say about it.
The cost of living and everything's gotten more expensive. I guess you could relate it to the carbon tax going to making fuel for bigger companies more expensive. But it's just in general, like life's a lot harder than it was 10 years ago.
So my family are farmers from Turner Valley for many, many years. And it's affected our family business, the younger children that work out there. It's just harder. Like the GST, everything is very difficult.
Well, it's just an increase in fuel everywhere, every little bit. It's just we're getting increases all the time, and I honestly think they've got to go after big petroleum companies and not the individual.
Have you noticed the price of living impacted you personally?
Sure, my mortgage has gone up. Yeah, absolutely.
The difficulty is that when we pay the carbon tax, if it's dealt with correctly and it affects everybody, then it's great. But if we pay the carbon tax and it's not effectively issued, then it makes the whole conversation extremely difficult, and it's tough for everybody. And
I just keep bringing it back to that, like, you can't pay, like, you can't put a tax on something and then pay for something not to happen that's very nature-based, right? So imagine if, like, the tax was actually, like, awarded, like a tax break was awarded in the sense that you didn't do something, as opposed to you did something, now you're taxed, like it's a punishment, right? And it's like, imagine that would clear up a global concept, right? Because it's like, oh, like you didn't, bring factories in, you didn't do this, you recycled stuff, like you would get actual, like, credit. Drop the word tax, here's some credit. That's the thing that's going to lift us all back up. It's bullshit, the whole tax credit thing, in my opinion, but...
Well, guys, today we did get mixed responses, but above all, we have noticed that the carbon tax has impacted people more than climate change. If the carbon tax has impacted you personally, make sure to head to our website at stopthecarbontax.com and sign the petition. Thank you for joining me today, and as always, stay strong and stay free. For Rebel News, I'm Angelica Toy. If the carbon tax has impacted you personally, make sure to head to our website at stopthecarbontax.com and sign the petition.